We continue into the Infinity Warps with Iron Hammer #1. The what happens if you combine Thor and Tony Stark. Hit the music. So like I said in my other Infinity Warps video, these warps are everywhere in this comic book. So if I miss one of them, make sure you type it down in the comments and let me know. And just to catch up some folks that may have just clicked on this because Iron Hammer looks awesome on the cover or on the thumbnail. Look, Gamora folded the universe in half. All these heroes have combined their powers. If you want more of an explanation, go check out some of my other videos in the Infinity Wars and Infinity Countdown series. But let's get started on Iron Hammer #1. So we begin at a bar, and Sigurd Stark he's hanging out, and he's actually overhearing a couple talking. Basically, hey, isn't that Sigurd Stark? He's the 5th richest man in Europe and 3rd best looking, and they're going on and on about why is he always so moody and drab and just ticked off all the time. And I'm going to want to call him Tony the whole time. Mr. Stark here just says that, everything he's done means nothing. He's built his company from nothing in 5 years. He could surround himself with excess and party and happiness, but it doesn't mean anything to him because he doesn't ultimately know who he is or where he came from. He's got amnesia. Well, Sigurd Stark decides to go for a walk despite the fact that there's a snowstorm. And actually on his way out, one of the bartender mentions that there was a Russian scientist who went missing a couple months ago in the storm, similar to the one that's blowing tonight. And Stark replies, I know Algrim Vanko, the Russian scientist, he was my friend. And he heads out, looks up into the storm with the thunder and the snow, and comments on it, but says that it feels like home. From there, you get a little further explanation into his total amnesia that he was diagnosed with, and him walking, that there was no records of him. There's no relatives coming forward, but he knows technology. He knows technology that man has never seen before, and because of that, he's been successful. And suddenly, he's walking through this woods, this area he's very familiar with, and he comes upon a wooded forest. Like I said, he knows the area, and he's like, I'm pretty sure there was no forest here. Maybe I should turn back. And then he just feels something urging him on. Well, straight up, he should have turned back because he managed to walk himself right into a group of dark elves. And he turns to run, and swoop, pop, takes one right in the leg. So he catches the arrow in the leg, and second elf lines up to take one and put it in the back of his neck. And of course, it's a poison arrow. He does have to point out that it's a poison arrow. And right when he goes to let loose his arrow, he gets stopped by the Crimson Curse. And the Crimson Curse, of course, is a combination between Crimson Dynamo, Ivan Blanco, and Curse, one of the Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Dark Elf villains. But anyway, he spares Tony Sigurd because he knows he's a man of science. He knows him from the time before, he says, and that he will be useful. So Barum hints to the dwarf, and they take him to the dwarf, and he the dwarf, may have a poison cure. If not, let him die. So they load him up and drag him off. As soon as Sigurd Stark sees Eitri, he first of all thinks he's having a hallucination because he's seen a dwarf, but then he starts feeling like, but I know him, and he feels this truth in his bones that he can't shake, and he's somehow this dwarf is my kinsman, but how? I don't understand. Now, one thing I don't understand here for sure is Eitri, is he combined with anybody? Because I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing it. But is he combined with anybody? If you think so, put it down in the comments and let me know. So after their brief introductions, basically it comes down to Stark's going to die in about a week with this poison. His leg's never going to be right. But he makes the comment to Eitri that if they want weapons, let's give them weapons, and let's give them to them business end first. And Eitri kind of he has to break it to him that there's a curse that says he can never lift the own weapons he forges. He cannot save himself. And Tony tells him, I call him Tony again, gosh darn it. Sigurd tells him, then build the weapons for my hands, for my whole body, armor and everything. Just build it and I will take them out. And then Malekith's name comes up. If I must die, I'll rest better knowing I died spitting in Malekith's face. And he's like, who's Malekith? And how know you that name, mortal man? And it's, huh? Now I'm trying to figure out this one right here. Is this Madame Mask and Lady Death and Hela? Maybe some kind of weird three-way combination? I don't know. Well, Eitri has finished the armor now, and the only thing is Sigurd thinks it's too late. He can't even sit up. His legs he feels heavy, and he can't even get up. But at the same time, here comes the Crimson Curse, and he is coming to check on the weapons he's asked for. And when he finds this, he ain't gonna be happy. So he steps out and actually steps over and has to tell Tony, and I'll just read this because this is actually, there's much I've withheld from you, Sigurd Stark, in the hope I could save you and keep the secrets of the Allfather of Asgard. You speak in riddles, Eitri. What have you there in the shadows? And then he brings out the iron hammer. And he said he made it while he was sleeping. And if you are worthy of this, you will truly become the Iron Hammer. And Eitri just says, he just walks off. He walks out. And he goes and stands between the Crimson Curse and Sigurd. And during that time, Sigurd reaches out and he grabs it. And I mean, while that's going on, Eitri's upstairs just spitting in his face, and he gets killed. He ain't gonna make it. But who steps out? This huge lightning strike, and there is Iron Hammer. And for everything, I will say Iron Hammer looks awesome. And now Stark comes out. He blasts Crimson Curse, and he's sitting there having this discussion, and it goes back to that whole split soul thing where there's two souls living in this one being. It's like he feels all this power, but he's like, is it me or is it something else? Is it what is it? And it goes back to Thor and Tony Stark being in there, and then it gets pretty cool from here because he looks up and there are dark elves all around him, and they're pelting him with arrows. And he says, "Heimdall, awake!" And apparently Heimdall is the heuristic enhanced imaging macro digital awareness for logic and logistics. And he said, no, I'll just call you Heimdall. And he identifies all the dark elf targets and just drops the hammer on the ground and just finishes the fight real quick. But then Crimson Curse emerges. They go at it, and he manages to put the hammer right to his dome, knock his helmet off, and really quick he realizes that's the face of his friend Algrimvanko. And Sigurd realizes that this is what the poison has actually done. It has made his friend a monster, and that he is basically chained to these dark elves, that he is a monster of Malekith now, and that he would not want to live this way, and he must be freed. He apologizes to his old friend as he drives the end of his hammer through his chest and kills him. And after having to do that, Iron Hammer vows that he will hunt down Malekith, the one who truly killed his friend. But as you have this happening, you have these individuals watching, and that's Malekith combined with the Mandarin and Obadiah Stane combined with somebody. They're calling him Stane Odin's son. So he's combined with somebody. I just don't know who. It's not Loki. So they're watching this, talking about how their plan has backfired, and then Madam Hell walks up, and I believe it is the it's Hela and oh man, what Madam Mask. So that's your that's your big baddie for the next issue, I'm sure. So guys, with this, I don't know. I'm just it's okay. It's not. I'm not blown away by these stories. Origin stories always take a while to get going. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. I really am. But I am not. The Iron Hammer did not do anything for me. I think surprisingly, I think I liked Soldier Supreme better. It's just it's clunky. It's I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. But Soldier Supreme, I feel like had a little bit more character building around it. Some of the Bucky Wong and the Dum Dum Fury stuff was funny. But I guess with Tony Sigurd Stark, or whatever we're calling him, that's frustrating to no end for me. But I guess him being a loner right now is kind of making it not as interesting. You don't have as many as the tie-ins. But overall, I would give it a 5 out of 10, maybe middle of the road. I'm not loving it. So, anyways, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't hit subscribe, I appreciate all my new subscribers helping me grow the channel. And hit the bell for notifications, and hey, leave a like. It helps me out in that crazy YouTube algorithm that I'm still trying to figure out. But guys, I appreciate you watching. Real Comic Stacks out.